Lecture 1. Looking Back. Overview. Modern America. Intellectual changes, which came with the beginning of the 20th century, resulted in new trends that found their expression in literature. The USA underwent profound changes after the Civil War. Civil War in numbers. 1. 1860 population, over 31 million people. 2. 1890 population, 76 million people, doubled population. 3. Population of Chicago neared 2 million. 4. Population of New York changed from 800,000 after the Civil War to 3.4 million at the turn of centuries. 5. Sign that USA became growing rapidly. 6. Was reflected in ideas America began to present. America profound process of industrialization, urbanization, emigration. These processes triggered 5 ideas about social Darwinism, the West and frontier, consumerism, processes that affected literary production, printing, interests in magazines and newspapers, feminism. Social Darwinism, Herbert Spencer, UK, William Graham Sumner, USA, great advocate of social Darwinism. Cartoon, illustration of social Darwinism. Mr. Gorilla, the lion of the season, someone very influential, new person, someone wealthy, presented as an ape. Turn of the century's presentation of the social Darwinism. Tendency to apply Darwinist theory of evolution to the human society. Arguments, individuals or groups of individuals achieve advantage over others in human life that is a struggle for existence which governs the lives of all animals. Human is in a situation like animals. Like them, people need to struggle for existence. Like them, we are subjects to natural selection, merciless rules like survival of the fittest. That translates to the notion that if anyone is successful, it must be because of this person's special biological or genetic superiority. Not a matter of luck or money, family influence, because there are no families in the natural world. Success is the result of biological superiority, and the things that are a result of that hard work, determination, dedication, perseverance, toughness, etc. Obvious, clear analogy between nature and social life. Competition is natural to human life, necessary ingredient of human life. Without competition, humanity would die. Those who survived did it because of nature, so it cannot be questioned. Survival of the fittest. Human beasts like other beasts. Truth of human condition emerges at the moment of crisis. Civilization is thin veneer of manners, pleasantries, politeness, gentleness. There is a thin veneer of civilization, and this veneer can be easily stripped by the pressure of the dangerous world. Political ramification. Not a good idea to promote any kind of governmental intervention into the business and business relations. The weak are idle, and they will die away. Strong are most likely to pass their genes and benefit the society, making it stronger. Society genetically more resilient. Tough talk individuals should be left alone to succeed or fail, with no expectations of help from the government. Quote from Sumner. Laissez-faire capitalism, cutthroat capitalism, became the orthodoxy at the switch of the century. Result, the growing gap between the rich and the poor. Gap was seen as natural, accepted as objective science. No one questioned it. Those who disliked social Darwinism thought in social Darwinist terms. Those who argued for existence of altruism among humans believed that it is Darwinian adaptation. Mutual help, brotherhood, kindness are all adaptation. All forms of caring are prosocial behavior that shows adaptation to harm. Adaptation. By sharing money. Someone may increase their chances to survive, but in a long run may help the species to survive. Feminists argued, and through these ideas and from these ideas, humanity is not going to survive if it keeps humanity idle. It is a waste of such potential of spices not to engage women in productive labor. Social Darwinism. Not questioned as a paradigm. Social Darwinism formed the foundation for cultural values. Free market capitalism at the end of the 19th century, before the progressivism kicked in, there was the idea that market capitalism is the best. Successful people, middle class and wealthy people earned the aura of being heroic. Social Darwinists praised such values as thrift, hard work, accumulation of wealth. Horatio Alger's Ragged Dick series. A. From farm boy to senator. B. Sink or swim. C. Risen from the ranks. Obvious ideas. Popular novels at that time. Pop fiction. Cheap. All about boy whose life seems to follow from rags to riches formula. Literary expression of idea that competition cannot be questioned. Government should not try to regulate the economy or cure social ills such as poverty. Boy who is poor always finds himself very poor, but we see him mobile, being honest, hardworking, dedicated, tough, becoming wealthy. No money, but is successful eventually. Self-made man. Motive used in literature later. Never expected to be given anything. Sense of promise that boy will become successful. The West and the frontier. Mythical place. Place of freedom, heroism, prosperity. Images of cowboys, frontiersmen, outlaws, Indians, show business, like Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. West was thought of as a place of new beginning, a place where one can start from scratch and prove oneself through hard work and perseverance. Frederick Jackson Turner's Frontier Thesis, the idea that the frontier was crucial in forming the American character. Turner argued that the frontier was a place where democracy and individualism thrived, where Americans became more American. Consumerism, growth of a consumer society. People began to define themselves by what they consumed rather than by what they produced. Advertising played a huge role in promoting new products. Emergence of department stores. Growth of leisure activities such as amusement parks, theaters, and sports. Literary production, printing, magazines, and newspapers. Explosion in the number of books, magazines, and newspapers. Rise of muckraking journalism. Newspapers became a powerful medium for spreading information and influencing public opinion. Feminism. Movement for women's rights gained momentum. Women demanded the right to vote, access to education, and equal opportunities in the workforce. Emergence of prominent female figures, such as Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Lecture 2. American Literature and Culture. Modernism. Reaction against the conventions of the 19th century. Emphasis on new forms of expression and experimentation. Influences from European movements such as symbolism, surrealism, and existentialism. Key figures in American modernism. T.S. Eliot. His work reflected disillusionment with modern society. Ezra Pound advocated for Imagism, a movement that favored clear, sharp language. Gertrude Stein, known for her avant-garde writing and role in the Parisian literary scene, the Harlem Renaissance, cultural movement among African Americans in the 1920s, celebration of Black culture, arts, and literature. Key figures: Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, and Claude McKay. Literary themes in the early 20th century. Alienation and fragmentation. Search for meaning in a chaotic world. Critique of modern society and its values. Popular culture and the media. Rise of cinema as a form of mass entertainment. Hollywood became the center of the film industry. Growth of radio as a medium for news and entertainment. Impact of mass media on shaping public opinion and culture. Lecture 3. The Great Depression and World War II. Impact of the Great Depression. Economic hardship and widespread unemployment. Influence on literature and art with themes of poverty and social justice. Key works: John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath and Of Mice and Men. New Deal programs, government initiatives to provide relief and recovery. Works Progress Administration, WPA, supported artists, writers, and musicians. World War II. Mobilization of the American economy and society. Literature and art reflected the experiences of war and the home front. Emergence of new forms of expression such as abstract expressionism. Post-war America. Economic prosperity and the rise of the suburbs. Growth of consumer culture. Influence of television as a dominant medium. Lecture 4. The Cold War and Civil Rights Movement. The Cold War. Ideological conflict between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. Influence on American culture and literature. Themes of espionage, paranoia, and nuclear threat. McCarthyism. Anti-communist sentiment and the Red Scare. Impact on writers and artists accused of communist sympathies. The Civil Rights Movement. Struggle for racial equality and justice. Key figures: Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. Influence on literature and culture with themes of resistance and empowerment. Literary and cultural movements. Beat Generation, a group of writers who rejected conventional society and embraced alternative lifestyles. Key figures: Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, and William S. Burroughs. Rise of pop culture. Influence of rock and roll, television, and movies. Youth culture and the counterculture movement of the 1960s. This covers lectures 1 through 4. Let me know if you need more specific details or further sections. Lecture 5, Postmodernism and Contemporary Trends. Postmodernism emerged in the mid-20th century as a reaction against modernism, characterized by a skeptical, self-aware approach to culture and literature, blurring of boundaries between high and low culture, emphasis on pastiche, parody, and irony, questioning of grand narratives and absolute truths. Key figures in postmodern literature. Thomas Pynchon, known for his complex, multi-layered novels like Gravity's Rainbow. Don DeLillo explored themes of media saturation and consumerism in works like White Noise. Kurt Vonnegut combined science fiction with satirical commentary on society in books like Slaughterhouse-Five. Postmodern techniques and themes. Metafiction, stories that self-consciously address the devices of fiction. Intertextuality, referencing other texts within a work. Fragmentation, nonlinear narratives and disjointed plots. Hyperreality, blurring of reality and fiction, often through media and technology. Contemporary trends in literature and culture. Diversity and globalization, greater inclusion of voices from different cultures and backgrounds. Digital age, impact of the internet and digital media on literature and storytelling. Environmental concerns, literature addressing climate change and ecological issues. Social justice, works exploring themes of race, gender, and inequality. Popular culture and media in the contemporary era, rise of the internet and social media as dominant cultural forces. Influence of television shows and streaming services on storytelling. Graphic novels and comic books gaining literary recognition. Music, fashion, and visual arts reflecting diverse and global influences. Literary awards and institutions. Pulitzer Prize, prestigious award recognizing excellence in journalism and the arts. National Book Award, honors outstanding American literature. Man Booker Prize, celebrates the best original novel written in English and published in the UK. Emerging voices and new genres. Young adult, YA, fiction, literature targeting adolescent readers, often addressing contemporary issues. Speculative fiction encompasses science fiction, fantasy, and horror, exploring imaginative and futuristic themes. Graphic memoirs, personal narratives told through the medium of graphic novels. Cultural and literary criticism. Post-colonial theory examines the impact of colonialism on cultures and literatures. Feminist criticism analyzes literature through the lens of gender and power dynamics. Queer theory explores LGBTQ+ themes and identities in literature. Eco-criticism studies the relationship between literature and the environment. Role of technology in literature and culture. Historical context. The evolution of technology has always influenced literature and culture. From the invention of the printing press to the digital revolution, each technological advancement has reshaped how stories are told and consumed. Impact of the printing press, invented by Johannes Gutenberg in the 15th century, made books more accessible and affordable, leading to increased literacy rates. Enabled the spread of ideas and knowledge, contributing to the Renaissance and the Reformation. Industrial Revolution introduced new printing technologies such as steam-powered presses. Mass production of books, newspapers, and magazines became possible. Literature reflected the changes brought by industrialization, addressing themes of urbanization, labor, and social change. 20th century innovations. Radio and film emerged as new forms of storytelling. Literature adapted to these mediums, with radio plays and screenwriting becoming popular forms. Television further expanded the reach of visual storytelling, influencing literary genres and themes. Digital revolution, the advent of computers and the internet, transformed the literary landscape. Ebooks and online publishing made literature more accessible. Digital platforms enabled new forms of writing, such as blogs, fan fiction, and social media stories. Technology in contemporary literature. Authors explore the impact of technology on society, identity, and human relationships. Themes of surveillance, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality are prevalent in modern literature. The use of technology as a narrative device, such as emails, texts, and social media posts, in novels. Interactive and multimedia storytelling. Video games as a form of narrative art with complex storylines and character development. Augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR, create immersive storytelling experiences. Transmedia storytelling, where narratives unfold across multiple platforms, books, films, games, etc. Social media and literature. Social media platforms as tools for writers to share their work and connect with audiences. The rise of online literary communities and self-publishing. Influence of social media on literary trends and reader engagement. Challenges and criticisms. Concerns about the digital divide and access to technology. Issues of copyright and piracy in the digital age. The impact of technology on traditional reading habits and attention spans. Future trends. Continued integration of technology in storytelling with advancements in AI and machine learning. Exploration of ethical and philosophical questions related to technology. The potential for new literary forms and genres to emerge as technology evolves. Globalization and its impact on literature and culture. Definition and scope. Globalization refers to the process of increased interconnectedness and interdependence among countries. It encompasses economic, cultural, technological, and political dimensions. Globalization has a profound impact on literature and culture, influencing themes, genres, and the dissemination of literary works. Historical context. Early examples of globalization include trade routes like the Silk Road and the spread of religions and ideas. The age of exploration and colonialism marked significant periods of cultural exchange and exploitation. Post-World War II era saw the rise of international organizations and the global economy. Global literature. Literature increasingly reflects diverse cultural perspectives and experiences. Authors from non-Western countries have gained international recognition. Themes of migration, diaspora, and cultural hybridity are prominent in global literature. Key figures in global literature. Chinua Achebe, Nigerian author known for Things Fall Apart, which explores the effects of colonialism. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Colombian writer and a key figure in magical realism, known for 100 Years of Solitude. Salman Rushdie, British Indian author whose works address themes of migration and identity, known for Midnight's Children. Cultural exchange and hybridity. Literature as a medium for cross-cultural dialogue and understanding. The blending of literary traditions and styles from different cultures. Exploration of cultural identity and the experience of living between worlds. Impact of technology on global literature. Digital platforms enable the global distribution of literature. Online communities and social media facilitate cross-cultural literary exchanges. Ebooks and audiobooks make literature accessible to a wider audience. Themes in global literature. Migration and diaspora. Stories of displacement, belonging, and the search for identity. Global conflicts. Literature addressing wars, terrorism, and their global impacts. Environmental issues, works exploring climate change, sustainability, and the global environment. Global economy, examination of capitalism, labor, and economic disparities. Challenges and criticisms, concerns about cultural homogenization and the dominance of Western perspectives. Issues of representation and authenticity in global literature. The impact of globalization on local cultures and languages. Future trends. Continued growth of global literary networks and collaborations, increasing visibility and recognition of marginalized voices, exploration of new forms of storytelling in a globalized world. Cultural festivals and awards, international literary festivals, platforms for cross-cultural exchange and showcasing global literature, e.g. Jaipur Literature Festival, Hay Festival.